Colors of Politics, NRI, on RI Free Radio. Just as the rainbow has many colors, there are multiple opinions and views of the way our state government should be run. Let us be to the point and deliver the truth. It is time to break down the colors of politics.
So tonight we have Doreen Costa, who just finished serving her term as a state representative and is now on the town council for the town of North Kingstown. She's joining us tonight. She's going to be talking about her thoughts, opinions, and all kinds of fun topics in Rhode Island politics. So thank you for Doreen for joining us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me on. This is my first time on your show, and I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, thanks. So why don't you start out with what's your most exciting part about being on town council now, and what do you miss about not being the representative anymore?
Well, that's a really easy question, and it's funny because a lot of people have asked me that same exact question. I loved being a state representative, going to that state house and doing what I had to do, but being a Republican in a room full of, I call them the Democratic piranhas, it's very difficult for a Republican to get any bills passed or anything done. And I was fortunate enough to be one of the 12 Republicans up there that got major legislation passed. I got several extremely important bills passed, and one of my goals was sex trafficking, protecting children from being sex trafficked. So I got bills passed for that, except more penalties, more time served, and that's in the House. So that's one bill to be proud of. When you know something that's been practiced and you see the impact on the family, and you talk to other members, it was a really important piece of legislation to get passed. So I went to talk to the Speaker, and he was all for it. He thought it was a great bill. And then I went over to the Senate side, and I had a one-on-one with Senate President Piva Weed, and she agreed to have that bill put out on the House floor, on the Senate floor as well. So that was my major piece of legislation that I'm extremely proud of that got passed up there. I also got a bridge naming done for Lieutenant Colonel Matthew Kusu, who unfortunately got killed in Iraq. So we had a bridge naming in his honor, and that passed unanimously. And I had his mother and his father and his brothers and his entire family on the House floor when that bill was passed. So that was kind of an emotional day at the State House. And another thing, too, is I was the only Republican ever to be in a Democratic leadership. Speaker Mattiello made me a chairperson of House Judiciary, which I never expected, but he believed in me. So I have some really great memories up at the State House that I'll never forget. And I ran on term limits, Amy. I don't think that you should be up at that State House for 10, 20, 26 years. Some people have been up there, because once you're up there that long, I think you forget why you're up there, because it's not just about the parties and the fundraisers. It's about the people that you represent. And I ran on term limits. I ran on 3 years with 3 terms, which is 6 years and out, and I stuck to it. I still wanted to be involved in politics because it's in my blood, and so I decided to run for town council in North Kingstown. And here I am. So I'm a town councilwoman now, and I am absolutely loving it. I love being a public servant.
That's awesome. And so with the term limit thing, do you feel it can also work around, if you are out of the State House for 6 years, you go back up for 6 years again?
People have asked me that question. If I do run, I don't know if I would run for a state rep again. Maybe something different. I mean, we have maybe a senator, maybe Secretary of State, maybe nothing. Maybe I'm just going to love the town council so much that I'm going to end up staying there for as long as people of North Kingstown want me to be there. So, I mean, my options are open, and I'm only 3 weeks into being a councilwoman. So I'm still learning. There's still a lot to learn about the town, and every day I'm learning something, and I'm going through the charter, learning the town charter, and doing the best I can. And it's like anything else. The more you do, the more you learn. And I'm like a sponge. I like to learn. So
I hear you there. I love learning new things and challenges, and I just recently got elected to the school committee in the town of Exeter. And
I know. Congratulations.
thank you. And although I know a lot about what school committees make choices on and have to evaluate and etc., actually going through it, doing the 6 hours of mandatory annual school committee member training that I didn't even, that was one point that I learned after being elected, was that you had 6 hours of mandatory annual training.
Exactly.
So I didn't realize that until I got a letter in the mail. Congratulations, now you need 6 hours of training.
Yeah, and I don't even know if he's gotten to the budget yet. So that's going to be another interesting, because it's funny, the schools always, and I'm seeing this in North Kingstown now, nobody ever has enough money. They always, want more money, and the problem is we only have so much in the pot to give away. And trust me, I would love to give everything I have, to the school for their, for their sport programs, for their music programs, but you only got so much, and you can only give small percentages at a time, and it just never seems to be enough. And I'm sure that you'll start seeing that once the budget comes up there in Exeter.
Yeah, the budget just became prepared for the first draft, and across the whole state, everybody's dealing with health insurance premium increases, which are taking a whole section out of budgets, costing more than originally anticipated. So there's definitely a whole new realm of things, but like I said, just like you, I love to learn new things, new challenges, just like this radio show that we're doing. I came up with an idea about 8 months ago, and then it took about 6 months to actually work and hash out pieces, and here we are.
And things happen for a reason. If you believe in something, you'll make it happen.
So, yeah, I love it. So what, changing gears a little bit, there's some things that have, I know basically the session just started, but there is some people in the Republican Party that are already discussing bills that they either are presenting or already have drafted to present. And I know that there was an article, I think Go Local Prov put it out, about the minority leader office being remodeled or something. So
well, I went a little ballistic on that, and I beat up Patricia Morgan a little bit on that, and it was very well deserved. The way I am looking at it is that office 5 years ago was remodeled. We had walls banged out, new rooms made, new furniture brought in, a new conference room brought in, and that was under Speaker Fox. There is no reason for us to be spending $50,000 remodeling that office again when you've got people that can't get their food stamps, that can't get their electric bill paid because the unit computer system is such a disaster. So, unfortunately, Patricia Morgan has her priorities wrong right now. And I'm not afraid to call out a Republican or a Democrat. It is what it is. It's a waste of $50,000. You take that $50,000 and you go help the people that need it. They're standing in line that can't pay their rent, that can't feed their children right now because their computers are so screwed up in this state. And that's where that money should be going. It shouldn't be going into a new office, which we don't even need.
No, I hear you. I actually called that office to inquire about a question in regards to the SNAP program. I called. I was on hold 15, 20 minutes-ish, and then somebody comes on the line, and they're like, I don't know, like an interim person. They're not the person you're going to actually talk to. And I was asked what exactly I was going to ask, like why I was on hold. And then depending on, I'm guessing, the urgency or whatever, I was told I had a choice to stay on hold for 4 to 5 hours or to put my name and phone number in a queue to get my question answered, and it would take 2 to 3 days for somebody to call me back. So,
well, here's the problem. Here's why they did that. Here's why they did that to you. because they know that they're wrong for doing it. They know that they're wrong for that $50,000. And they have no other explanation for it. There is no reason for that office to be remodeled. Look, I've been up there for 6 years. I've been up there. I've been a state rep. I know what's going on. And it's just a 100% absolute waste of taxpayer money.
No, I mean, I personally, I have been in that office, but I will say I didn't really look thoroughly at it, so I cannot personally comment whether it actually needs or doesn't need anything.
It doesn't need anything, exactly. That's the whole thing.
But the SNAP thing itself just shocked me because I was like, wow, I called to like ask a question, and to get a question answered, you have to wait on hold 4 to 5 hours. Well,
the question you wanted answered was not, how can I put this? It wasn't
a priority
that you wanted. So they probably thinking, hey, look, I don't want to talk to this person because, you know, maybe they're right. We really don't need this $50,000 for this office, and they don't. The office is 5 years old. That's it.
Yeah, it's
so
crazy.
Waste of taxpayer money.
But is there, I mean, I have a couple of bills or things offhand that I can think of, but I know you have your own passions and opinions, so I want to give you the floor. What is it that you've heard that's either being presented or drafted that you're excited about, or even maybe you don't think it should happen? Do you have...
Well, actually, I haven't heard or seen any bills, to be totally honest with you. I've been so wrapped up in reading all these resumes I have in front of me because we are in the process of hiring a new town council manager. A new town manager for North Kingstown. So I've been wrapped up in that, and it's very early in the legislative session. So a lot of the bills are drafted as we speak, and they really have to hit. You pre-file legislation, which I know that a lot of the representatives have, but they're not quite on the website yet. And it takes a little while because it's going to go down to legislative council, and they have to write the bill up. They have to draft the bill. Then the bill is being sent back up to the office, and then you have to review it, make sure that it's right. So it's quite the process. It's not just like, okay, I'm going to put this bill in, and it comes up. It sometimes it takes weeks for it to even show up on the website. So
yeah, and then it has to be scheduled with a committee. And
correct. Yeah, then they haven't even assigned the committees yet. So I'm sure within the next week or two they'll probably have all the people assigned to committees, and that's when you'll start seeing some hearings and some bills rolling out.
Because I know Bobby Nardolillo is definitely, he's already discussed 3 or 4 different bills that he's either already drafted or in the process of drafting.
Right. Well, Bob, the good thing about Bobby's bills is what happens is at the State House is when you have a bill that doesn't go anywhere, that doesn't pass, you can bring that same bill back up, so nothing has to be done. Like he wants seatbelts on school buses. And I know he's a big proponent of that. So the bill that he's going to be submitting is the same exact bill that was already drafted last year. So that's one bill that doesn't need any extra work. It just gets reprinted with a new date, a new LC number, and then it goes assigned to a committee. And a lot of people do that. If you have a bill passed, if you have a bill drafted, and you're passionate about that bill, and it doesn't get passed, you automatically can put it in the next year. And it doesn't have to be rewritten or anything. It's just right there. It's just print it out and hand it over to you. So,
yeah, it's definitely the easier way to do it. Now, what is your opinion about the processes with committees and the this? I know I sat through countless, I don't even know how many, 2016 committee sessions, and they literally start the committee with putting every single new bill automatically held for further study. And then if it doesn't ever get back on the calendar, then it just like sits in ghost town until the following year.
Well, it's not quite how it works. What happens is every bill in front of every committee gets held for further study. bill that gets submitted goes up to the Speaker's office. And believe it or not, it's the Speaker that decides what bills are going to come out and what bills are not going to come out. If he decides that it's a good bill and that the bill will come out, the bill will go back into committee to go out for a full vote to go out into the floor. Then it has 48 hours. Within 48 hours, that bill can go out to the floor for a final vote. Now, if you've noticed, my 6 years that I've been up there, only one bill has never passed on the House floor, and Speaker Fox went insane. Every bill that makes it to that House floor passes. There's not one bill that fails, and you just will never see that because they know they have to vote for the bills, and that's with coming into play. I mean, the Republicans are absolutely irrelevant. I think with 12 of us, so they don't even need a whip count because if the Democrats are going to pass the bill, if they don't need the Republican vote. And here's another thing I can guarantee you, and if you want to have me back at the end of the legislative session, out of all the Republican bills, I'm going to say we're going to be lucky if there's two bills that will be passed under Republicans because they just doesn't.
Well, what is the point in a committee if really the Speaker is the one saying whether or not it even passes the committee?
Mm-hmm. Well, unfortunately, that's the way that it works in the state of Rhode Island. And when I learned this, I mean, when I was a new representative in 2010, I thought I was going to conquer the world. I thought I was going to put E-Verify forward and get rid of the master lever, and I was going to go for voter ID, and I thought I was going to conquer everything. And not one of my bills made it to the House floor, except my voter ID bill, which was I was pulled over to the side, and God bless him, because his name is John Green, who is a former representative. It was my bill. Voter ID was my bill, but my name was taken off it because I was a Republican, and the only way that we could get that bill to the House floor was to take my name off it as the sponsor, give it to a Democrat, and put my name as a co-sponsor. I think it was like number 2 or 3 on the bill. Well, aren't you so kind? You know, and then so if anybody wants to go look back at 2010 and put in Representative Doreen Costa, you'll see that the original bill was actually my bill. And the Democrats steal your bill. In 2010, I had put in a bill for nurses, so when they go to visiting nurses, when they go to a house, they don't get it. They have a special placard that they can put on their car so that they don't get a ticket because they're taking care of very sick patients and they're only there for 15, 20 minutes. And I'll never forget, in 2010 budget night, my bill came to the House floor, and I was like, but it wasn't my name on it. It was a Democrat's name on it. It was Eileen Naughton. So that's how the Democrats steal Republican bills, and they do that all the time, which is pretty sad.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Now, I found out the hard way as I was trying to work with different legislators for different bills, both on the Senate and the House side, myself, for 2016, and every single bill that I was working with in regards to the reversing the HPV mandate in Rhode Island, so therefore they all go to the same committee, the Health, Education, and Wellness Committee.
Correct.
So every single one was held for further study the very same time it came up, even though there was like 12-ish people that spoke on behalf of the bill, and there was all kinds of information to hear right there at the time, and people called, people emailed, people and requested, lots and lots and lots of people requested for those bills to come back up and to be voted upon in the committee, and it never did.
Right. Yeah, and it's funny because, like I said, it ends up on either Senate President Pavlovic's desk or Speaker Mattiello's desk, and they're the 2 most powerful people in the state of Rhode Island. I mean, they're more powerful than the governor, and if they don't think that bill should come out, then the bill will not come out. I don't care if you have 5,000 people testifying. It's just how it is, and it's always been like that. I mean, it's just not speaking audio and it's not a Senate president private lead. It has been like that for forever, as far back as I can remember.
It is the same exact way on the Senate side, too?
I'm sorry. Say that again, please.
It's the same way on the Senate side?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't get as much feedback from the Senate side, or at least it seemed, as I was informed from legislators, that they thought it was a little...
It's like they'll all look at you like they care and they care and they care, and you know what? And half of them just are up there because they're up there. You know, they just want to be up there, and there's some that really do care. I mean, and there's some that just, you know, I don't know why they're up there. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. They all go in meetings. They all go, you know, like I did. I was supposed to change the world. That's my first trip. And you learn how it works. You learn very, very.
Yeah, with what, like I just said, the HPV mandate and working on that and being in contact with many different legislators on both sides of the coin, it was unbelievable to me, those that were willing to tell me that they did not agree with me and that they did not agree that it should be reversed. That was all they were willing to say, to try to get an explanation as to why, or to try to like have a further discussion to understand. The discussion was closed down. It was, it was like, nope, not gonna tell you, just that's what I think. And it was like, wow, what? So I definitely learned a lot myself in 2016 and going to the State House on
No, you will. It's amazing what you learn up there. It is just, I mean, there's a lot of good that's done up there, you know, and there's just as many bad bills. I mean, I used to make have this thing on my Facebook page called the Bad Bill of the Week, you know, and make it, whether it be a Republican or a Democrat, you know, it didn't matter to me. If it's a bad bill, it's a bad bill. So I used to put that up on my page, and it was kind of fun doing that. But you know, I might go back to doing that once the bills start rolling out and I can actually have time to read a few of them. So I'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, well, you can definitely bring it to my attention if you want, and I can give them a nice little shout out, or maybe a negative shout out on the air.
The squeaky wheel gets everything, you know that.
But yeah, it's lots of stuff. So what is something that you want to, like, I know you're not up there, so you can't introduce a bill yourself. So do you hope to see something in particular happening in 2017 yourself? Like, do you hope something really does get introduced?
Well, I'm looking for more sex trafficking legislation to be introduced, because there was one more sex trafficking bill that was going to come to the House floor, but because I didn't vote for the budget, the Speaker didn't give me my bill. So the bill is still floating around up there, and I know that someone's going to grab that because it's a fantastic bill. So I'll be looking to see who does that. Also, I'll be looking for, I'm sure there's going to be a lot, as usual, a lot of the anti-gun people will be out there for the gun bills, the firearm bills. That's another big thing that piques my interest all the time. I was on House Judiciary, so people would come up there and they would talk about high-capacity magazines and assault rifles, and they had no idea what they were talking about, because they would talk about clips with like 3,000 rounds in them, which don't exist, and I'm like, okay, and I would just sit there and just listen. It's like, if you want to come and testify on a particular subject, whether it be firearms, whether it be abortion, whether it be HPV mandate, whatever, have your facts straight when you come up there, because you're talking to people that have done their homework up there, and you just look foolish. So do your homework, because if we're asked questions and you're not going to be able to answer those questions, and then you look like a fool. So do your homework, have your notes when you come and speak in front of us, and you'll have credibility. Without that,
No, I do have to say, even though the committees for the bills I worked on, it never passed, committee never even got voted on, for that matter, there was at least 3 different members of the committee that were good about asking questions and actually engaging in trying to learn more from the testimony. And even though it didn't go anywhere, that was comforting that they were asking questions and engaging and trying to learn more about it.
Well, and it's funny that you said that, because we had a big hearing about, I say big, there's so many people there, about marijuana. Now, I know nothing about marijuana. I know nothing about medical marijuana. I mean, I know nothing about it. And I asked questions. And by the time I was like, oh my gosh, this could be really good. It passed. And, and I was, and that's the whole purpose of us being legislators, and asking the questions, because we want to learn from you as much as you want to learn from us.
Yeah, and that's the good part, is when the questions are being asked, because even if you don't agree, if you can at least have a mature, debated, back and forth conversation and learning from each other, even if you don't end up on the same page, that's moving forward, where you're educating each other.
Exactly.
And it boils all the way down to our roles now, even on town council and school committee too, is asking the further questions in order to make the decisions. I mean, you affect the whole town. Yeah. In your case, I affect all the students. In my case, with how I vote and how I choose. So we have 2 minutes left, Doreen. So is there anything that you want to make sure that you throw out there and let the public know? And then also feel free to throw in like your Twitter, Facebook, or any way that somebody can get in touch with you.
I mean, you can follow me on Facebook at Doreen Costa, or Costa Corner. Costa Corner is my political page. You can follow me on Twitter. Obviously, it's Doreen Costa. And I would love to come back on your show towards the end of the session, and we're going to go over how many Republican bills actually got passed and see how close I was to on this one.
Okay. That sounds good. No problem. Yeah, well, the intent, hopefully, with the show is to dig deeper into bills, because I find with a lot of the stations out there, you get bits and pieces and a little bit here, a minute there, but my show is to really try to dig into some bills and educate the public about.
Oh, and we will. Once those bills start flowing, trust me, we'll have so much to talk about.
Yes, definitely. I appreciate you for coming on so much tonight. Thank you for taking the time. Hope you feel so much better. I know you've been having your own health things. And
just a new knee. I got my new knee replaced, so we're doing well.
Good. Awesome. And you need some sleep, from what I'm seeing.
Yeah. My 3 a.m. club.
Yes, I see those posts. All right, great. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Thanks. Happy New Year. Take care, Amy. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye. And thank you so much for listening. This was another episode of Colors of Politics on RI Free Radio. Listen to us on rifreeradio.org, and you can download the TuneIn app. Find us on Facebook and on Twitter @ Colors of RI. Have a great night.